More Americans feeling the effects of the crippling cyber attack on the major U.S. pipeline Colonial Pipeline. Gas prices continue to rise, and some are warning it's not the end. The Energy Secretary trying to allay fears about what might be yet to come. Businesses are struggling. The number of job openings far outstrips the number of people applying, and people are trying to figure out the reason why. President Biden says it's not due to the pandemic unemployment benefits, but some governors disagree. They are ending unemployment benefits several months early. Tune into Deep Dive as we explore these topics and more. Hello and welcome. This is Deep Dive and I'm Tiffany Meier. Let's talk about gas prices because they're going up. The national average price for a gallon of gas is now $3 and it could keep rising. But before we get into all that, Colonial Pipeline is facing a deadline to decide when to go back online. The company says it'll make a decision late Wednesday. Now, while gas prices were going up before the pipeline attack, they're seeing quite a rise after the attack. The national average price for a gallon of gas is now $3, the highest in 6.5 years. But some say it's not the end. American Automobile Association's Manager of Federal Affairs tells the Epoch Times we are expecting to see price increases to continue through the week, and in particular in the southeast region and in the northeast, because we are seeing directly impacted areas along the terminals of the pipeline that remain out. The AAA reported Monday that the national gas price average jumped 6 cents to $2.96. They added if the trend continues, an increase of 3 more cents would make the national average the most expensive since November of 2014. The last time we saw average prices at $2.99 and higher. By Wednesday, the national average price already hit its highest point in 6.5 years. Gas prices were already on the way up before the cyber attack crippled the top pipeline in the country. On average, fuel prices rose 60% over the past year. But with what's just happened, it's making things even worse. Colonial is responsible for about half of the East Coast's fuel supply. It spans more than 5,000 miles from Texas to New Jersey. The line transports roughly 2.5 million barrels of gas and other fuels daily and holds more than 100 million gallons of fuel a day from Gulf Coast refineries to major hubs up the coast. After learning about the attack, Colonial shut down its systems as a safety measure. While some sections are operating under manual control until inventory runs out, the main lines are still down. Colonial hopes to have the system back up by Friday. But until then, fears of gas price hikes are rising. AAA spokesperson says this shutdown will have implications on both gasoline supply and prices, but the impact will vary regionally. Adding areas including Mississippi, Tennessee, and the East Coast from Georgia into Delaware are most likely to experience limited fuel availability and price increases. As early as this week, these states may see prices increase 3 to 7 cents this week. So aside from the rising price of gas, what other impacts are there? On Tuesday, over 1,000 gas stations ran out of fuel. That's due to parts of the country dealing with the after effects of the pipeline attack, but also due in part to some panic buying setting in. Some are comparing it to the toilet paper shortage in the early stages of the pandemic last year. Lots of videos across social media showing the long lines for gas. Biden's Energy Secretary Jennifer Granholm tried to ease fears, telling people not to panic buy. She said yesterday, "Let me be really clear. The crunch is in the areas affected by the pipeline, the main spurs of the pipeline. So that really is the southeast. About 70% of the supplies of North Carolina, South Carolina, Tennessee, Georgia, and especially Southern Virginia are impacted the most." Now, some governors issuing declarations of emergency due to the fuel situation. Florida Governor Ron DeSantis, Virginia's Governor Ralph Northam, and Georgia's Governor Brian Kemp all declared emergencies Tuesday. This follows North Carolina Governor Roy Cooper's emergency declaration on Monday. Florida's move activates the Florida National Guard. It also directs state emergency management officials to work with federal and local officials. Georgia's governor suspended his state's gas taxes. Georgians don't have to pay state gas taxes starting Tuesday to this Saturday for now. He's also doing away with many restrictions on trucks transporting fuel. Chem's executive order on Tuesday increases weight and size limits for trucks transporting gasoline. It suspends hour limits for commercial vehicles and bans price gauging. He has the right to renew this order depending on the pipeline situation. The governor says, "We do want to make clear that anyone taking advantage of this disruption and making a quick buck off the backs of Georgians will not be tolerated." North Carolina's Governor Roy Cooper declared a state of emergency in his state on Monday. That's because Colonial Pipeline is a primary fuel pipeline in the state. He is also suspending some weight and size limits for trucks carrying fuels to deal with the shortage. And they are expected to remain in effect for at least 30 days. He said in a statement, it will help North Carolina prepare for any potential motor vehicle fuel supply interruptions across the state and ensure motorists are able to have access to fuel. South Carolina's Governor Henry McMaster, meanwhile, says he would not declare a new state of emergency because the state was already in one due to the pandemic. As for the federal level, the Biden administration issued temporary waivers in an attempt to lessen some of the challenges being presented by the fuel shortage. This waiver removes requirements surrounding the vapor pressure of fuel shipping to Washington, D.C., Maryland, Virginia, and Pennsylvania. In other words, fuel suppliers can sell lower-grade gas that normally doesn't hit the mark due to states with ongoing air quality issues. The EPA expanded it Wednesday to cover more states. It now reaches the District of Columbia and areas of Maryland, Pennsylvania, and Virginia, and also includes Alabama, Delaware, Georgia, specific counties of Florida, Louisiana, Mississippi, North Carolina, South Carolina, and Tennessee. This stays in effect till the end of the month. The EPA typically issues such waivers after natural disasters. That's usually when refineries or fuel distribution infrastructure get hit and damaged. But the EPA can also act whenever there is a major fuel supply disruption, like now. Some are now drawing comparisons between Biden and former President Jimmy Carter. That's due to last week's jobs report letdown and rising gas prices. Now, speaking of jobs, employers posted a record number of job openings in March. According to the Bureau of Labor Statistics, job openings rose nearly 8% month-over-month to over 8 million in March. That's the highest number in the history of the series, which goes back to December 2000. But the supply isn't quite matching up to the demand. A jobs report released last week showed that only 266,000 jobs were added in April, a far cry from the over 1 million that was expected. Businesses seem unable to find the workers they need. Right now, the number of job openings far outstrips the number of people applying, and people are trying to figure out the reason why. Some Republican senators are blaming it on extended unemployment benefits. They say it encourages people to stay home rather than go back to work, while some Democrats say it is because companies aren't paying workers enough. Business owners across the nation are struggling to hire workers. A New York City restaurant owner told the Epoch Times they are 60 employees short, and that he hasn't reopened one of his restaurants yet because they don't have the manpower. But Biden insists that this is the business owner's problem, and they should raise wages to bring people back. He says, "My expectation that as our economy comes back, these companies will provide fair wages and safe work environments, and if they do, they'll find plenty of workers." Republicans say businesses can't compete with the federal government's unemployment benefits. Biden's $1.9 trillion stimulus plan extended the weekly $300 unemployment benefits through September 6th. Some Republicans are suggesting rolling back government benefits to incentivize people back to work. Biden said on Monday anyone collecting unemployment who is offered a suitable job must take the job or lose their unemployment benefits. He says, "We are going to make it clear that anyone who is collecting unemployment who is offered a suitable job must take the job or lose their unemployment benefits," adding that there would be a few COVID-19 related exceptions to the guidance. Some governors seem to agree. They are ending unemployment benefits. Alabama is joining a growing list of states rolling back unemployment benefits. The federal $300 unemployment boost during the pandemic was set to last till September. But Alabama's Governor Kay says that's not going to be the case anymore. Starting June 19th, Alabama won't participate. The governor says Alabama's unemployment rate is 3.8%, the lowest in the Southeast and significantly lower than the national rate. She says it is time to get back to work, noting what was meant to be short-term relief is adding to a labor shortage. And she's not alone. Arkansas, Mississippi, Missouri, Montana, and South Carolina agree. Mississippi and Missouri are set to drop out the earliest on June 12th. South Carolina's governor is ending these programs beginning June 30th. He said these unemployment benefits are placing the United States on the road to socialism. He told Fox News' Tucker Carlson, getting back to work is how you build an economy, build a family, and everything else. It's a similar situation in Arkansas. The governor said these benefits were helpful at the height of the pandemic when unemployment rates were astronomical. But now the situation is different. He'll be pulling out of the benefits on June 26th. Montana will be dropping out of the program on June 27th for the same reason. But U.S. Labor Secretary Marty Walsh criticized the move from Montana. He said choosing to eliminate these critical benefits will have the greatest impact on the most vulnerable. He says this will force families to choose between their health and economic security. And now Florida is expected to follow suit. Governor Ron DeSantis telling reporters on Wednesday, we absolutely can put more people to work, adding those getting the $300 weekly extra payments will soon have to provide proof that they are actively looking for a job. But what do you think? Let me know below. Thanks for tuning in to Deep Dive. I'm Tiffany Meier, and see you soon.